Welcome to the Music Game Club monthly teachers Zoom chat. I'm Rebecca Trevelise, and I live in Austin, Texas, and I own Austin Arts Academy. You see a lot of our students try out our games and play our games and celebrate all the learning that they achieve during our game plays. And yeah, so I live here with my husband and I have 4 kids, and yeah, we like playing games and like being outside. So
hi, I'm Amanda Taro. I work with Rebecca. You probably know me from emails. I'm the one who does all the emails and the blog posts and stuff at Music Game Club. I help design the games. I also teach. I have only virtual students right now because I more recently moved and got married. So I haven't decided yet what I'm going to do with my studio, but that's where I am now. I live in Middle Tennessee, which is absolutely gorgeous right now. All right, so just to start off, wanted to have a question about summer. So are you teaching this summer? Are you taking time off? So I'll start. I decided to take the summer off of private teaching because I am hoping to do more with my personal hymn playing business that I have. So I was like, if I take off the summer, I can reallocate that time for my hymn playing. So that's been really exciting this summer. And the summer's like crazy short. It's like only 2 months. So that's what I'm doing this summer.
yeah, so I am teaching just a few students this summer privately, and then we have a 10-week summer session for our classes. So we have art and sewing, and our music classes only run 10 weeks this summer. So I do feel like it's really short. Hi. Oh, I think you're muted.
I'm not Sam. I'm Taria, his wife.
Oh, hi,
And
Taria.
am I the only one on with you all?
So far, you're the only one.
What a shame. I've missed this every time.
Oh,
So
no.
I just did the Croak Creek camp, and it was amazing. Thank you so much.
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
And I am teaching through the summer. So,
Right. Awesome.
And I also am in Middle Tennessee.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
Your products are phenomenal.
Thank you. So what did your students, how many students did you teach with the Creek Crick Croak? Because I know
11.
different people have numbers. How many?
11.
Oh, that's awesome. That's a lot of song composition going on.
And there were so many different ages. There was a 4-year-old there, but he really shouldn't have been there. He was with his grandma. And I allowed it because he was very well behaved and he did participate. And his brother, who is 7, learned the C scale in 1 day, which we were quite impressed with. And so then the oldest was 16. And we just had a little bit of everything. And so I think they really liked doing what they wanted to do instead of it being their 30-minute lesson and having to do it my way. There was just that freedom. I wish I had thought about it a little more and had more keyboards. So there was a little bit of an issue there, but we'll do it again. And it's a success when everybody's standing in the foyer saying, when are you going to do that again? It's like, oh yeah, okay, sure.
Awesome. Great hit.
Oh, great. Thank you for sharing that. It's so great to always hear feedback, when someone actually tries our game, and yeah, it's a success. So thank you. All right. Well, I have our topic today is specifically teaching young children. So when I think of a young child, we actually offer classes basically birth through 12 or 14 months, and then they attend with the caregiver. And then we have kind of a music and movement class that we do. They have to be walking through 3 years old. And then our kind of more piano-centric classes start, and we do ages 4 and 5, ages 6 and 7, and then ages 8 plus grouped together. So today specifically, we're going to be talking age 4 to 7. That's kind of our younger age group that we're going to be talking about today. And I have a couple of videos to kind of demonstrate a few things that I've noticed when we teach young children that might pop up, just to encourage other teachers. So let me share my screen. And I can show you a video. So of course, none of us want to experience tears or personally or see someone else crying, but sometimes young children will cry. Actually, I've had a few older kids that have surprised me that have cried before. But we all are emotional beings, right? So showing emotion, that just means sometimes that they feel like safe enough to show emotion, and that can be a good thing. Oh, you can't see the screen yet. Okay. Here we go. Screen sharing has failed to start. Please try again. Well, one participant can share at a time. Are you by chance sharing, Amanda? No, you're not sharing. Okay. Desktop. I'm getting error code 105035. I've never seen that before. So, I wonder if I could AirPlay from my phone, if that would work.
Yeah, it looks like that error code has to do with system files being reassigned or something like that.
I've never heard of that.
Thank you, Zoom.
Oh no. Okay. Well, we may just talk about it without an actual video being played. It's nice to see the video, but let me choose multiple people can share at a time, and maybe that would fix it. I don't know why it should matter, but nope. Okay. You're still having problems too? Okay. Well, so I can just chat about this. So one of the times I was playing a game, I was observing a class with another teacher. So it was her class, and she had two students that were ages 4 and 5. And I came in to introduce this brand new game called Rabbit Rhythms that we had just created, and it was ready to test out on our students. And so I explained the game. So this was the first time these girls had ever heard about 2/4, 3/4, 4/4, or 5/4 time signatures. So this was all brand new information, but that doesn't really matter. I've learned that we can tell students, hey, this is a game, and just kind of feed them little bits of knowledge, even if it might be technically over their heads. But to them, they don't really care because it's a game. All they're thinking about is, I'm about to play a really fun game that involves rabbits. And so they're hearing what I'm saying. They may not really be understanding it, but anyway, so I explained just the very beginning of the game, and I said, okay, we're going to race. I did not know these girls' temperaments, but I said, okay, we're going to race. And as soon as you know the answer, you're going to put your hand down on the rabbit foot. That is the correct answer. So I showed them the rhythm card, and one of the girls immediately got it correct. And she slapped the correct answer. And the other girl immediately started crying. So I knew at that point, I was like, oh, and I could tell that both the teacher and I were kind of on the same page immediately, like, oh, we need to pivot, like our competitive and intense nature of this game needs to be adapted immediately to meet the student's emotional level. So the girl that got the answer correct, we applauded her. Yes, you got it correct. That's great. And then we recognized that Anne was crying. Oh, Anne, it's okay. Your rabbit is going to get a chance. Don't worry. You will get a chance. Would you like to do the next one? And she was still crying. So the teacher said, hey, Anne, do you want me to take your turn? I can take the turn for you. And that way your rabbit can move forward and we can give you a minute. And so she continued to kind of cry and sob. Which is so painful. It's not pleasant when someone is crying, but she wasn't ready to abandon the game. She stayed right there with us. We were very compassionate. And by her next, so then the other girl went next, and she got stuck. She could not remember what a dotted half note was called and how many beats it got. So I asked the girl that was crying, I said, hey, Anne, can you help Elia? Do you remember what this is called or how many beats? And she said, dotted half note, 3 beats. She knew the answer and she helped her friend. And at that point, that turned the game for her because she was the hero. She knew the answer. She could help her friend. And so we immediately made the focus on the rabbits are working their way through the garden, not the girls. The rabbits are working their way through the garden. We made it, a very collaborative. We're helping each other. We're going to work through the garden. And then at the end, I did like this cute little, because they're ages 4 and 5, I did this cute little dance where the rabbits were like, oh, you ate a lot of tomatoes. Oh, well, you ate a lot of carrots. Yay, we did it, and just made it fun so that if we ever got the game out again, hopefully her emotion response would be, oh, that was a really fun game. And she won't remember the tragicness of feeling, oh, I didn't get the first answer correct and crying. So celebrating and kind of understanding that sometimes emotions will show themselves during game time, and that's okay. That's completely normal. We can be compassionate and understand that a child might need more help or just encouragement, but it's not, I would say, don't just abandon the game and say, okay, we can't do this. This isn't working. Like, work through it so the student can have a successful ending to the game and be positive. So at the end of the game, they're smiling, they're holding the success poster together. So that's just one example. So I'll just stop right now. Has anyone else experienced tears, or has anyone else, does anyone else have any other comments about that with young children? And it's okay if you don't. So another thing that I've observed with young children, another teacher that I was observing at our studio was playing a game. It's called 4 Foxes. And that does cover music notes. So it's quarter notes, half notes, dotted quarter notes, dotted half notes, eighth notes, eighth rests, whole rest. So it has notes and rests in it. So these girls are ages 4 and 5, so they have not seen eighth rest in their music yet, or played eighth notes yet. Or if they have played eighth notes, they're playing it in a rote way, so it's just not, they're not aware. They don't look at a note and they're not able to see it. But this is a great game to encourage them to try to start identifying, oh, that's an eighth note. So I noticed that when the student would turn over a card and they didn't know the note yet, or they hadn't been exposed to it yet, she would just not let them, she would just give them a new card. So the next time I played the game with them, I encouraged her. I said, hey, go ahead and, this is a matching game. Go ahead and let them see the eighth rest and say, this is an eighth rest. It gets half a beat. It's totally fine for a 4-year-old to hear you say that. Yes, they may not have it in their music, but you're planting those little seeds of knowledge. So they can see the eighth rest, and then they can follow the path and figure out this symbol that I'm looking at, where is it on my path, and find it. So that visually and physically, they're making a match. And then they're hearing the teacher say the name of the rest or the note and how many counts it gets. So that's important knowledge that we're exposing the child to. So don't be afraid to introduce like a harder concept or something that isn't in their music. Go ahead and play a game. It's a great way to introduce harder concepts sooner. And then let's see, one other thing. Let me look at my notes. Oh, there was one video that sorry, I can't share today. For some reason, Zoom isn't allowing us to do that. But we were playing Counting Caterpillars one day, and there was a student, when they complete their rhythm in this game, I want the student to count out loud and actually clap, which is very hard for young students to do. But it's such a great skill to be able to say the beats and clap it physically with your body. And so she was getting stuck on a half note. I was showing her 1, 2, and then she would copy me, but she was going 1, 2. So she could hear that there's 2 beats, but she couldn't get her body to hold it through that second beat. And fortunately, her teammates, so she has 2 other boys in the class with her, They were very patient. I could tell no one was getting fatigued. So that's another thing, is like, be aware of kind of the environment that the student is in. If you can tell they're getting fatigued, or if you can tell that some of their classmates are huffing and puffing or rolling their eyes, maybe it's not a good time to kind of push forward and kind of hang on to that concept. But I could tell this was a very peaceful, loving environment. The girl was not getting fatigued. And so I had her try it probably 5 or 6 times. I said, 1, 2. Can you do that? Can you hold it through the second beat? Trying to coach her through. And she couldn't get it. She kept saying 1, 2. So finally I said, okay, is it 1, 2, or is it 1, 2? And all of a sudden you could see that finally clicked when she saw me do it correctly and also incorrectly. For her, that was like, oh, she wants me to hold it, even though I'd been demonstrating it the whole time. For somehow it just clicked. So finally she went 1, and she squeezed them together, and I said 2, and I said, you did it. And then I reinforced it by saying, also, when you're at the piano, you're going to press the key down 1 and keep holding it down 2, just to reinforce that physical part of being at the piano and holding your half notes correctly. So that's another fun thing that will pop up with beginners, is physically and sometimes verbally, like putting rhythms and putting it all together. It can be challenging, but it's so fun to be able to do that. And it's great when you see classmates helping others. That's a great way for young students to also be teachers, and then you can see, oh, they're retaining the knowledge that's being taught. So I don't know if you have any other comments, or if anyone else wants to jump in with things that they've observed in teaching young students. Amanda, Sarah,
Just rhythm sticks when they're little, because it seems like they can't coordinate to get their hands to do what they want it to do. And I don't have any in front of me, but instead of, 1, 2, I make them hold the sticks together. So 1, 2, or whole note, hold it, whatever. And sometimes that helps them when it comes time to actually push a key down. And that's worked for me quite a bit.
Awesome. Yes, thank you for making that connection. Yes, we offer rhythm sticks with our even younger crowd, like the birth through the 3 years. But I'll get the rhythm sticks for this class. That's a great suggestion. Thank you. Amanda, anybody else?
Well, oh, here they are. I'm trying to find my counting caterpillars parts. It's like, I know I had some, because I was going to share what I had done with my students with counting caterpillars. So y'all haven't seen it. This is the board. And basically you're going to put the time signature here, and then they pick cards to fill out the caterpillar, and then they can metamorphosize or however the word is into a butterfly, because they have their little 2-4 time signature, but then it turns into a butterfly, and they can put it right here. So what I did for 2 of my beginning students last year was I pulled out just the quarter notes, and I started with 2-4, and I said, this means, see, these are quarter notes, and the 2-4 means that you get 2 quarter notes and a measure. And I didn't explain like what a measure was. They're like 4 or 5-year-olds. I just, they figure out that as you go. So I put 2, and I demonstrated how to count it, and then I moved on to 3-4. So I put the 3-4 one up here, and I'm like, so how many would that one get, do you think? So if 2-4 got 2 quarter notes, how many quarter notes does 3-4 get? Of course they answered 3-4, and then we went 4-4, and this one also covers 5-4. So this is not how the game is supposed to be played. The game is supposed to be played like with a little bit older students. You pick like 3 cards, and you have to mix and match to create measures on whatever you happen to get. You might have drawn 4-4 first, or 5-4 first. But for my younger students, I start with 2-4 and just the quarter notes. Like there's eighth notes in this game. There's dotted quarter notes. There's dotted half notes, but I don't teach them all that. I just start with the quarter notes. So that was one way that I adapted counting caterpillars for my students. And they seem to really grasp. I think they learned time signatures faster than any of my other students did, because they could visualize it. There was also, I would say it's tactile, but these were virtual students. If they were in person, it would be much more tactile. Like they could actually hold the cards and put them together. So that's how I did Counting Caterpillars. And another game that I had used for another very beginning, a little bit different than what it's supposed to be used, was Keyboard Kittens. So this is like the favorite game. It's kind of a Candyland type game. She mentioned 4-4 Foxes earlier. 4-4 Foxes is another Candyland type game, but it's with note values instead of, these are with letter names, which by the way, our game board is both letter names and also solfege for those who teach solfege. So I was teaching my 5-year-old niece piano, and the activity sheet, you're just supposed to color. There's a color code and you're supposed to color all the notes. So we did that. And then I went ahead and I wrote in what all the notes were. And then I actually sent her home. Now she is one of those students where her mama would do this. I know not everyone has piano parents like this, but I sent her home with the cards and had her play it. And she, during lesson, and then when she sent home, I'm just like, hey, match it. You know, like, where are the black notes? This is 3 black notes. All right, it's right here. Where are the 3 black notes? And what note is that? Oh, that is F. Sorry, I was looking at it backwards. Wanted to make sure I got it right. And so she used this. Of course, she loves rainbows. She loved that. And then she liked the little kitties because, I mean, they're so adorable, y'all. We have, you know, different like Siamese kitty and a little orange kitty. And so she loved the kitties, she loved the rainbow color, and she played the game. She loved playing the game. She came back the next week and knew every single white piano key. I have never had a student that young learn them so quickly. And so I was like super excited. And once again, this was more of an educational way of playing the game. If you're using this for a review, you know, they just pick the note and they do it. Also, I will just mention, there are level 2 cards. And the level 2 cards go up to 2 ledger lines. So this game is like for, you know, your very beginners, but it also can be used for your more upper level. And I will say for young students as well, like if they're transitioning, like they're learning middle C notes, like your middle C position, what I would do is maybe use both cards, like some piano keys, and then some of the notes that they know. Maybe they just know B, C, and D. So I would throw those cards in there with the piano key cards. And so it kind of eases them in. And then every week you can add a new card. And then they kind of gradually, they feel confident because, oh, they got a piano key card. They know that. But then it's also reviewing maybe something that's newer for them. So Rebecca, can you share the link for Keyboard Kittens in there? All of these games you can get at musicgameclub.com/shop. But there's a lot of games in there, so this just kind of whittles it down. All right, I'm going to do one more game, and then we'll have a giveaway. So compound cones is compound rhythms, which means, you know, that's more of a higher level concept. But my niece, I had all the game boards on my wall back before I moved, and she loved the ice cream cones, and she really wanted to play the ice cream game. All right, she can't even read music yet. And when we were just learning the piano keys and all this sort of stuff, but she really, really wanted to play compound cones. So I did. And these are the cards. You know, you have the different cards and you're supposed to match the middle and the bottom and the top. I can't find a middle. Anyway, so there's different tops, there's different bottoms, and it's compound rhythm. So this has a dotted half note, dotted quarter note, and dotted quarter note. And it's like, there's no way I'm teaching her compound rhythms before she understands simple meter, because that's going to really confuse her. But what I did was we just learned what these were all called. This is a dotted half note, dotted quarter note, dotted quarter note. Can you find another card that has those? Like we were just playing a matching game. And so she learned what the notes were called. And I didn't say, oh, they get so many beats, because I might be a purist. I'm like, this is compound rhythm. So technically it gets 3, but she's going to learn it first as 1.5, and I don't want to confuse her. Anyway, so I just taught her like what they were called. So, yeah, there's so many ways to adapt games to play for younger students. And this is something that Rebecca just does so well, is, she's very good. I guess she was one of the ones that like after hearing her talk about it for several times, I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this. And it's play games with your younger students, even if they're advanced concepts. You can break them down and play them in a way that the younger students can just be introduced to something instead of looking at it like, oh, let's teach them this concept, more as a let's introduce them to this concept. And I know our first freebie we had is now in the shop, Dynamic Den. Our first freebie, a lot of piano teachers really loved it. And they said that their students, after playing that game, when they would get on the piano and see the dynamic marking in their music, they would actually do so much better at following dynamics after playing the game, just because of that familiarity. And so I feel like with younger students, it's just really important to bring that familiarity with everything, even if it's concepts that they might not actually learn for a few years. Okay, so we love doing a giveaway every time. We've got like 5 minutes left.
Can I jump in and say one more thing that I forgot to say earlier?
Okay, go ahead.
So another thing that I'll do is oftentimes, so if I am teaching a beginner, like that's age 4, 5, 6, or 7, that is at the very first beginning stages of learning and jumping into their musical journey, a lot of times I'll pull in my older daughter or a more advanced student, or if they happen to be in the same class together, the nice thing about our games is you can adapt the games to have 2 different levels playing at the same time. So I had a picture of my 9-year-old daughter playing with a 4-year-old child. So they were playing Starfish Staff together. He was just counting the lines and spaces, identifying whether a note was on a line or a space. For a 4-year-old, that's a win. And then he was counting up to see what line or space it was actually on. When she would get a card, she would identify the name of the note, but I was having her, I said, can you turn the card so he can see how you're figuring this out? So she would, if it was a treble clef note, she'd say, oh, G line, G, A, B. And she would, so he was seeing and hearing her figure out her harder level. And he was just doing the level that was appropriate for him, but he was already being exposed to, oh, there's more that I have to learn, and I can watch an older child do it. So don't be afraid to combine ages or levels when playing these games. Sometimes that's a great boost to the younger learner. So just wanted to include that.
That's good. That's good. Okay, so let's do our giveaway. So all of you are automatically entered, but if you'd like an extra entry, you can share. Oh, what do we usually have in share, Rebecca? I just suddenly went blank.
Oh, what you like about Music Game Club. If you've played a game before, if you like, Taria shared how she had used one of our camps recently. So that was great. That can be, or if you've never, this is the first time you've ever heard of Music Game Club, if you heard something that you did like today, you could just share that.
And you can share it either, you can unmute yourself and share it, or if you want to type it out, if you are a little camera shy, that's fine too.
Or if you can't be on camera, or you just have to type. Sometimes I'm in meetings and I can only type. I cannot participate by only typing. So we get that.
I just think the versatility, no matter what age, what level, like with the camp, you go from 16 all the way down. Some are very proficient in what they're doing, but some are brand new learners. And to keep from intimidating the ones that are new with the ones that are older, I let the older help the younger, like you said, with your daughter. And that was really a confidence builder, because then they felt like they had the ability to share something besides, just being taught. But your products are amazing.
Thank you. Anyone else want to share something? Going once, twice. All right, we're going to draw a giveaway. Let's see if I can do this. It takes me a second to swap my camera around just so you all see that it's completely randomized. All right. And the winner of, yay, Teresa. I'm guessing that was your name was. I could have gotten it wrong. Okay. So
it's okay. It's Taria, but that's close enough.
Taria. All right, I'll get you on your email. All right, so yeah, so the giveaway was our Doggy Dynamics, which is the game of the month. Adorable little dog. So we have Fortissimo on one side and Pianissimo on the other side, and there's a dog bone that goes in the middle, and then they draw the cards, and depending on what the card is, depends on how they move. So if it's a forte card, they move toward the fortissimo dog. So forte, mezzo forte, fortissimo, and crescendo. And if it's any piano, they move towards the pianissimo dog. So it's a tug of war. It's constantly, because I might be the fortissimo dog and you might be the mezzo piano dog and we're right here, but I might draw a piano card, which means I have to move the bone toward you. You might draw a forte card, which means, anyway, so whoever gets the bone first wins. So it kind of reiterates to the student, this is louder, this is softer. So like we said earlier, all of our games, including this one, are on Music Game Club, musicgameclub.com/shop. We are in the process of working out our membership. So we have a monthly membership where you get the new game of the month each month. And we're swapping it over to where in August, it's opening up the end of July. But starting August, you will get to choose the game of the month. So some members might join in and it might be a rhythm game that month, and they might already have 4 rhythm games and they don't need a rhythm game. But then you could look at all of our other games and choose the game you want. So maybe you want Starfish Staff or Keyboard Kittens. And so you can choose that. Also, we're swapping it. We have different membership tiers. There will be, of course, 1 game a month, but then some of the teachers who've joined have said that, they get too many games. They don't have enough time to play them all. And so they need fewer games a year. So in that case, we'll have 1 game a quarter membership. And then we also have 12 games a month yearly membership for the price of 10. So we're getting all of this stuff ready to go. We've got a lot of website work coming up, and we're going to launch it July 22nd, if I'm remembering that correctly. Be sure you're on our email list. Well, you all are, because if you signed up for this, you most likely are on our email list. But I will be sending regular updates to let you know. That is the cheapest way to get our games. We're also swapping it out to where non-members will not have access to all of our video tutorials. I do like 20 to 30 minutes worth of video tutorials every month. So that way you're not just playing the game in one way. I'm giving you like what we were talking about today. Like, here's a way you could play it for younger beginners. And we'll also have it for different levels of students. We have a lot of different ideas for how to play one game so you can get the most out of every single game. That's going to be a membership only perk. And then our activity sheet. And if we have like a note chart or note guide or whatever like that, that will also be a membership only perk. So we're swapping some things over, super excited about it. And I'll keep everyone updated with emails. I know we're a few minutes over. Rebecca, you have anything else?
No, I would say, I think you said 12 games a month. That's 12 games a year, but you can pick them all the first month. Like you can pick whatever 12 games and it would be for the price of 10. But yeah, we'd love to.
You pay once a year. Yeah. I didn't rehearse the speech. I just like okay. All right. Well, does anyone have any questions before we sign off? All righty. Well, thank you all so much for joining us. It was really fun. Next month, we're going to talk, Rebecca, remind me.
Yes, we're going to talk about playing games with older students. So yeah, that's a different, like we need teens enjoying music theory, right? It's so critical for them to really have a really true understanding and knowledge of music theory once they're older. And yeah, we found that they actually do really like playing our games because our graphics aren't babyish. So we're going to dive into the whole world of teaching older students.
All right. Thank you all so much for joining us. Stay tuned for next month. First Friday of every month we meet. We'd love to see you back.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.